Good morning students. Today myself Jyoti Nahar from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group Kota, and I am here with class 5 science, and today we will be doing the revision of chapter number 1, that is growing plants, and chapter number 4, that is solids, liquids and gases. So let us start with chapter number 1 first. We are going to take up the revision of chapter number 1, that is growing plants. So let us take up the main topics. First topic is growing plants from seeds. Here we have the structure of kidney bean seed, and let's take it on the board. I will explain you the kidney bean structure on the board. Come on, let us discuss the diagram here. This part, this is the seed coat. This protects the baby plant inside, and here this part, this is called the seed hole. This allows water and air to enter inside the seed here. Again we have these two parts. These two are called the cotyledons. Next, here we have the internal question in it, that is on page number 8. What is the function of cotyledons? Cotyledons, what is the function? They store food for the baby plants. So you can take up your pencils and underline the main line here, that is the answer of this first internal question. Cotyledons store food for the baby plant. Our next topic is germination. Germination shows how a seed grows up into a seedling and then into a big plant. Okay. Next topic is seed dispersal. Seed dispersal, the agents of seed dispersal are dispersal by wind, by water, and in this topic here we have another internal question, that is our question number 2 on page number 9. So students, you need to underline the main answer here. Give 2 examples of seeds that are dispersed by water. This question is included in the same topic, dispersal by water. So you need to underline this. The answer is lotus and coconut. These 2 seeds are dispersed by water. And the next topics are dispersal by animals, like the seeds of the cockleber and dhatura. They are dispersed by animals. Dispersal by explosion, like the seeds of pea, poppy. How they are dispersed? They are dispersed by explosion. Okay, our next topic, growing plants from the different parts of the plant, like growing plants from stem. As we have, we can grow new plants from the stem cutting of hibiscus plant, money plant. So we have our third internal question here in the same topic. The third internal question is, give 2 examples of plants that can be grown from stem cutting. These are the plants where we can cut the stem, and if we grow them again we get a new plant. Which plants do grow in this way? They are rose and hibiscus. So these are the examples of plants that can be grown from stem cutting. Again you need to underline this in the book. This is on page number 10. Okay. Again we have growing plants from roots, like the seeds of, like the plants carrot, radish. Here we can grow new plants from roots. Next, growing plants from leaves, like in bryophyllum plant we have notches along the margins of the leaf. They give rise to new plants. So that is growing plants from leaves. Again we have growing plants from spores. Example for this is mushroom. Here the new plant grows from spores. So our next topic, agriculture. In this we have 2 types of crops, kharif crops and the rabi crops. Kharif crops are the crops that are grown in summer season and they are harvested at the end of monsoon season, and the examples are rice and maize. Rabi crops are the crops which are grown in winter season and they are harvested in the spring season, and the examples of rabi crops are wheat and gram. Then we have protecting the crops. How we protect the crops? The crops are protected by fencing along the fields and by scarecrows. We use scarecrows to frighten the birds away. So, this was all about our topic, chapter number 1, growing plants. Now, let us discuss the copy work, that is question and answers from a copy. Now, let us discuss the definitions which are important in this topic. Germination. What is germination? Germination is the process by which a seed grows into a new plant. First the seed grows into seedling and then a plant. So, this process in which a seed grows into a plant is called germination. Next definition is a seed dispersal. What is seed dispersal? The process by which seeds are scattered away from the mother plant. Seed is scattered away from the mother plant by any agent, may it be wind or water. So, these were the two definitions. Now, let us start with question number 1. What is the difference between the Kharif and Rabi crops? We have discussed in the chapter, I explained it to you what are Rabi crops and Kharif crops. So, let us take up the differences between Kharif crops and Rabi crops. Here we have Kharif crops, that are the crops that are grown in summer season and harvested at the end of monsoon season. And what are the examples? As I have explained you earlier, the examples are rice and maize. What are Rabi crops? Crops that are grown in the winter season. These crops are grown in the winter season and they are harvested in the spring season, and the examples, as I told you earlier, they are wheat and gram. Our next question is question number 2. How do animals help in seed dispersal? Animals, they help in seed, they are the agents of seed dispersal, as I have told you earlier. How they are helping in seed dispersal? Human beings and other animals, they eat fruits. We people, we eat up the fruits, and what do? We throw away the seeds, isn't it? So, that is a way of dispersal. This is how we are dispersing the seeds, and we throw away their seeds, resulting in their dispersal. This is a way that we eat fruits. Similarly, the animals also, they eat up the fruits and they throw away the seeds, and so this is how they are dispersing the seeds, and this is a way how animals disperse the seeds. Second point, some seeds have spines and hooks. As I have told you, the seeds of cockleburr, dhatura, tiger claw, they have spines and hooks, and so these seeds, they stick to the bodies of animals. These seeds, they stick to the bodies of animals, and wherever the animal moves, the seed is carried away with the body, and then it is thrown or it drops somewhere else, resulting in dispersal. The third one is the undigested seeds pass through their digestive system. Sometimes these seeds are eaten up by the animals, but they are not digested in the body. So, they are passed out with their waste undigested, and they are dispersed wherever the waste is thrown or existed. Now, third one, what is the importance of seed dispersal? Means why it is important to disperse the seeds. Why cannot we grow the seeds all together at one place? It is important that seeds are dispersed over a wide area so that each seedling gets enough sunlight, air, water and space to grow. Now, you all know these are the essential things that a plant needs to grow: sunlight, air, water. So, if they get it in enough amount, we disperse the seeds so that these things are provided to the plants in proper amount if they are dispersed. If we grow them all together, they will be fighting for these and nutrients too. So, it is important to disperse the seeds so that they get enough amount of sunlight, air, water and space to grow. Okay. Next question is, what is agriculture? Agriculture, it is the practice of growing plants. We grow some plants or some crops on a large scale for food and other purposes, like sometimes we grow like rabi, maize, these are grown for food. Some crops like cotton and other plants, they are grown for some medicinal purposes or some other purpose. So, these are grown for some other purpose. So, this is the practice. What is agriculture? Agriculture is the practice of growing plants on a large scale. They are grown over large fields to get food or to some other purposes, may it be medicinal purposes or to get some herbs, anything. So, this was about question number 4. Coming to question number 5. Explain the structure of a seed with the help of a well labeled diagram. As I have explained you earlier, I explained the structure of seed on the board to you. So, here we have 4 parts of the seed. In the structure we have 4 parts, and what are these 4 parts? A seed contains the 4 parts are seed coat, seed hole, cotyledons and embryo. And what are the functions of these 4 parts? The function of seed coat is, it is an outer covering which protects the baby plant. What is this seed? This is the seed coat which protects the baby plant which is growing inside it. Now, seed hole, it allows water to enter the seed. Seed hole allows water to enter the seed. When we soak the seed or when the seed is growing, it takes up the water through this hole. Next one is cotyledons. Cotyledons, function of cotyledons, as we have done in our internal question too. What is the function of cotyledons? It stores food for the baby plant. It takes up, when the plant is growing, it takes up the food which is stored in the cotyledons until the leaves grow up. After the leaves grow, they themselves make the food with the help of, by the process called photosynthesis. So, until the leaves are grown, the plant that is growing, it takes up the food from the cotyledons. Okay. Next is embryo. Embryo, it grows into a baby plant, means it is that small part which is growing up into a baby plant, or it will grow up into a baby plant. So, these were the 4 parts which were included in the structure of a kidney bean seed. So, now we are going to discuss the bookwork of the same chapter. So, this is our bookwork which is on page number 10. Here we have the true and false. You have to write T for true and F for false statements. Plants are non-living things. As you know, plants are living things. So, this is a false statement. Seeds are present inside flowers. Again, this is a false statement, because you know seeds, they are present inside fruits. Roots absorb water and minerals from the soil. This is a correct statement. So, we need to write true for it, because roots, they absorb the water and minerals from the soil when the plant is growing. Outer covering of a seed is called seed leaf. Again, this is a false statement. The outer covering, as I have told you in the structure of seed, the outer covering is called the seed coat, not the seed leaf. So, this is a false statement. Next one, coconut and lotus seeds are dispersed by wind. This is not correct, because the coconut and lotus seeds are dispersed by water, not by wind. So, again this one is false statement. Next is take the correct answer, that is the back exercise we are doing. First question is, you have to choose the correct option. Seeds are present inside, just now we have discussed the seeds, they are present inside the fruits, not the leaves, not the flowers and not the roots. Next one, during germination the seedling gets food from the cotyledons. As I have just told you that during germination the plant, it takes up, the growing plant takes up the food which is stored in the cotyledons. So, what is the correct answer here? Cotyledons. Maple and cotton seeds, they are dispersed by wind. As I have told you in the explanation of the chapter, that these plants, these seeds are light and they have hairs on them. So, they are dispersed by wind. Next question, which of the following seeds is dispersed by water? The seeds which are dispersed by water, what are the examples? The example of this seed which is dispersed by water is Coconut, because mango is not dispersed by water, cockleburr is not dispersed by water, these are dispersed by animals, and dandelions are dispersed by wind. So, the seed which is dispersed by water here is coconut. Next one, which part of the bryophyllum plant gives rise to new plant? This was the example of a leaf which gives rise to new plant. So, bryophyllum plant gives rise to new plants by leaf. Next exercise, fill in the blanks with the correct words. You have to choose one option, one word which is the correct, and you have to write it in the blank which is given here. Plants are dash things. Plants are living things. As we all know, plants are living things. A seedling gets water and minerals from the soil is the correct answer, because the seedling, when it is growing, it takes up the water and minerals from the soil. And which part absorbs these? The roots. The roots, they take up the water and minerals, so through the roots. Okay. Next one, maple seeds have dash structures. The maple seeds, they have wing like structures, as we have done that the maple seed is light in weight and they have wing like structures, so they are dispersed by wind. Next, lotus plant has a spongy light fruit. As we know that the lotus plant, it is dispersed by water, and how it is dispersed by water? They have a light spongy fruit in them and which can float on water, and they are dispersed by water. So, the correct answer here is spongy light fruit which can float on water. Next, cotton grows well in black soil. This is the type of soil which is very good. Black soil is very good for cotton plants. So, the correct answer here is black. Next exercise is name the following. Two plants that are grown from roots. Two plants which can be grown by roots are carrot and radish. These are the two examples where we can grow new plants using roots. Two plants that are grown from stem. We know that potato and onion, these are the stem part of the plant, and we can grow new plants using these stems. The two examples here are potato and onion. Okay. Two seeds that are dispersed by explosion. When we did dispersal by explosion, we took up the two examples of these seeds, pea and poppy. These seeds are dispersed when the fruit or the plant they burst out the seeds and they are exploded when they are dispersed by explosion. The two examples of kharif crops, just now we have done in the question answers when we did the differences. The two examples of kharif crops are rice and maize. Next, the part of seed that protects the baby plant inside a seed. When I explained you the structure of seed, we discussed that the part which protects the baby plant inside the seed is seed coat. It is the outer covering which protects the plant inside it. So, this was all about our book work, and we have discussed the question answers too. So, go through the students, go through the copy work and book work once. We will be doing the revision of chapter number 4, that is solids, liquids and gases. I hope you would have gone through the video, do it thoroughly again and remember the important points. Now, we will quickly recap the important points of this chapter. The first point is arrangement of molecules in matter. As you all know, the arrangement of molecules in solids is closely packed, in liquids it is loosely, and in gases it is very loosely packed. I will explain it to you on the blackboard, the arrangement of molecules. Now children, the molecules in solids, they are very closely packed. As you can see here, there is no intermolecular space between the particles, and the particles are very closely packed. Now in liquids, you can see the molecules have a little bit space in between. The intermolecular space between the molecules is present. and the intermolecular force in these molecules, between these molecules, is less as compared to the molecules in solids. In solids, they are bound by a strong force of attraction. In the force of attraction between the molecules in liquids, that is the intermolecular force of attraction, is less here, because the intermolecular space is large, and here the intermolecular space between the molecules is too much, means it is more than solids and liquids. The molecules are very far apart, and the intermolecular space between the molecules in gases is more than solids and much more than liquids. So, this is about arrangement of molecules. Now, our next topic is solids, liquids and gases in water. As we all know, some solids like sugar and salt are soluble in water. Again, some liquids also are soluble in water, as you can see lemon juice, your milk is soluble in water. So, some liquids which mix with water are called miscible liquids. Two liquids that mix with each other, may it be milk and water or lemon juice and water, you know, they get mixed with each other. You cannot separate them, or you do not have a different layer of them. So, they are called miscible liquids. But we have some liquids which do not mix with each other, like if you mix kerosene in water, they do not mix or they do not get attached, means the molecules or the one substance forms a different layer on the on the second substance. Same kerosene and water, they are also not miscible. So, these liquids, such liquids which do not mix with each other are called immiscible liquids, means they do not mix with oil and kerosene, they do not mix with water. So, they are called immiscible liquids. Now, change of state, this is our third topic. In this we have the changing of state on heating and cooling. Again, I will explain it to you on the board here. Now, when we convert solid into liquid, that is when we heat solid, it converts into liquid. So, this process is called melting. On solids, on heating, convert into liquid, this process is called melting. Again, when liquid is heated, it converts into gas, and this process, when the liquid converts into gaseous form on heating, is called evaporation. Opposite to these, if we go in the opposite direction, means when the gaseous form converts to liquid on cooling, it is called condensation. So, condensation is the process of changing gaseous form into the liquid state on cooling. Again, when the liquid converts into solid, when we change liquid state into the solid state on cooling, this is called freezing. When you keep water in the freezer, what happens? It converts into ice. So, this process, when a liquid converts into solid on cooling, is called freezing. So, these are the four processes which take place on heating a substance or on cooling a substance. Our next topic is expansion and contraction of matter. Expansion of matter means when we heat a substance, it expands. Increase in the size of matter on heating is called expansion, and on the opposite way, decrease in the size of matter on cooling is called contraction. This you can understand with the help of wires between the two poles which hang loose in summer season, but in winter season they are tight. So, our next topic is physical and chemical change. Physical and chemical changes are temporary changes. They are reversible, whereas chemical changes are irreversible and they are permanent. Again, in physical change, no new substance is formed, only the physical properties change, only the physical appearance of the matter changes. Whereas in chemical change, we have a new substance which is entirely different, or the properties of the new substance are entirely different from the properties of the matter that we took before. So, this was a small recap of the chapter. Now, let us go through the internal questions. The first internal question is on page number 38. So, students, you need to pick up your pencils and quickly mark it in your books, underline the line on page number 38. So, the first question is, tight metal lid of a jar can be opened easily by dipping it in hot water. You know, you must have observed that when we are not able to open any tight metal lid of a jar, what do? We dip it in hot water and then we are quickly able to open it. Why does that happen? Because of expansion. When we dip it in hot water, the metal lid expands and that makes the lid easy to open. So, our next question, again this question is on page number 38. Quickly take up your pencils and underline the answer. Why electric wires do not hang loose between electric poles in winter season? In the winter season, the electric wires between the two electric poles, they become tight, they do not hang loose. In summer season, they hang loose. Why does that happen in winter season? Due to contraction. Due to contraction, the size of the wires decreases and that makes them tight. So, they are not hanging loose in winter season. So, students, you need to mark these questions in your book on page number 38. Both the questions are there. You need to write the questions and mark the answer there. Okay. Now, let us discuss the book work. First question is, you have to write T for true and F for false statements. Molecules can be seen with naked eyes. No, the molecules are so small that we are not able to see them with our naked eyes. So, the answer is false. Solids have a definite shape and volume. Yes, solids, they have closely packed molecules, so they have a definite shape and volume. Liquids have definite shape but no definite volume. This statement is false because the shape of the liquids is not definite. It keeps changing as we change the container. Aquatic plants breathe in oxygen dissolved in water. Again, this statement is false because aquatic plants, they take in carbon dioxide which is dissolved in water. In soft drinks, carbon dioxide is dissolved. This statement is true because carbon dioxide is in the dissolved form in soft drinks, which makes them fizzy. Next question is, pick the correct answer. Which of the following cannot be seen with naked eyes? Just now we have discussed that the molecules are so small that we are not able to see them with our naked eyes. So, the answer is molecules here. There is little intermolecular space between the molecules of liquids. The correct answer is liquids because as I told you, the molecules in liquids, they are not tightly packed. They have small intermolecular space between them. So, the correct answer of the second one is liquids. Which of the following can take up all the available space? The gaseous form between the four is steam. So, the molecules are free to move and they take up all the available space. So, the correct answer is steam here. Which of the following is an immiscible liquids? As I told you just now that kerosene is a liquid which does not mix with water. So, kerosene is an immiscible liquid here. Which of the following is a chemical change? Chemical change where a new substance is formed. Melting of ice is physical, melting of wax is physical, glowing of bulb is a physical change, burning of wood is a chemical change. So, you need to tick the fourth option, that is burning of wood. Now, fill in the blanks with the correct words. You need to choose the correct words from the words that are given in the bracket here. In solids, the molecules are tightly packed, as I told you, they are very closely packed. Gases do not have definite shape and volume. In gases, we have no definite volume and no definite shape is there. Salt and sugar are soluble in water. These are the solids which dissolve in water. In a physical change, no new substance is formed, because just now we have seen a physical change is a change where no new substance is formed, it is a temporary change. When the steam touches a cold surface, it changes into water. This is due to condensation when the gaseous state converts into liquid state on cooling. So, the correct answer here is water. Next question, name the following tiny particles of matter. All matter is made up of molecules. These are the tiny particles which make up matter. So, you need to write molecules here. Two gases that dissolve in water. The two gases that dissolve in water are carbon dioxide and oxygen, which is used by animals and plants which live in water. A gas dissolved in soft drinks to make them fizzy. Again the same thing, carbon dioxide is the gas which dissolves in soft drinks, which makes them fizzy. Two immiscible liquids. The examples of two immiscible liquids which do not mix with water are oil and kerosene. Now, the process by which a liquid changes into solid form. When a liquid changes into solid form on cooling, the process is called freezing. So, freezing is the correct answer. Now, we will be discussing the copy work, that is question and answers of the same chapter number 4. Next is the definitions. The important definitions of this chapter are: the first one, matter. Anything that occupies space and has mass is called matter. Everything around you is matter. Your pencil box, your books, all these are matter because they occupy space and they have weight in them. So, anything that occupies space and has mass is called matter. Second definition is melting. The process of changing a solid into a liquid on heating. This is the process which takes place when we change a solid into liquid on heating. Like when you heat ice, it converts into water on heating. So, this is the process is called melting. Next one is freezing. The process of changing a liquid state into a solid on cooling. When you change a liquid state into a solid state on cooling, like when you keep the water in the freezer, it converts into solid state, that is ice. So, that took place on cooling. So, the process is called freezing. In the copy work, we have the first question: why are gases which dissolve in water important? Gases which dissolve in water like carbon dioxide, oxygen, why are they important? Because these are needed by aquatic plants and animals. So, gases dissolved in water are important because these dissolved gases are used by aquatic plants. Aquatic plants take in carbon dioxide and aquatic animals they take in oxygen. So, these are needed for photosynthesis. Plants need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis and animals need oxygen for respiration. So, the gases which dissolve in water are important by aquatic plants and animals for photosynthesis and respiration respectively. Next is differentiate between miscible and immiscible liquids. Now, miscible liquids, you all know, liquids that mix with each other are called miscible liquids. The example is water and lemon juice. Another example of miscible liquids you can give like milk and water, they mix with each other, so they are called miscible liquids. Now, immiscible liquids, liquids that do not mix with each other. The two liquids that do not mix with each other, you can give the example water and oil. Again, kerosene and water, they too are immiscible liquids. Now, the third question is: explain the molecular arrangement in solids, liquids and gases. In solids, the molecules are tightly packed. As you can see in the diagram here, the molecules here are very closely packed and there is no intermolecular space between the molecules. The molecules are so closely packed that there is no intermolecular space, and so the molecules have a strong force of attraction between them. So, this is the arrangement of molecules in solids. In liquids, you can see the molecules are not as closely packed as in solids. In solids they are very closely packed, but in liquids they are not as closely packed as in solids, and the intermolecular space is also there. So, intermolecular space is found between the molecules. The force of attraction between the molecules here is not that attractive as in solids. Now, in gases the molecules are far apart. As you can see in the diagram, the molecules are very far apart and they have large intermolecular space between them. So, the force of attraction between the molecules is not there. They take up all the available space. They are free to move and take up all the available space. As you can see, gas molecules, they spread all over the space, entire space in which they are kept, or they take the entire space whatever they get. Our next question, describe condensation on the basis of movement of molecules. Now, how does condensation takes place? Means when molecules of steam or water vapor touch a cold surface, when the water vapor molecules, they come out of the hot liquid, and when they touch a cold surface, their movement slows down. The movement between the molecules becomes less, and due to that they become free to move. They are free to move and convert into liquid state, and so these water vapors, they condense in and form water there. Now, this process of changing a gas into liquid on cooling is called condensation. So, condensation is the process when we convert gaseous state into the liquid state on cooling. This process you can see on your tiffin lids also. When your mama packs the tiffin for you, hot tiffin for you, you see water droplets on the tiffin lid when you open it. That is also due to condensation. So, students understood how the droplets have appeared there. Now, differentiate between physical and chemical change. There is a table for differences between the physical change and chemical change. The first point of physical change is it is a temporary change, whereas a chemical change is a permanent change. You cannot get back the substances. This is a reversible process like folding of paper. You can reverse it back. It is a temporary work that you have folded the paper, you can again unfold it. Now, this is a permanent change. Once the process is done, you cannot reverse the process, like in burning of wood. If once the wood is burned, you cannot get back the wood from it again. So, in this, no new substances are formed. In physical change, no new substances formed, like glowing of bulb. When you put it on, the bulb glows. Again, you can off the bulb, the substance remains the same. When you fold the paper, the substance remains the same when you unfold it. So, this is a physical change when no new substance is formed, whereas in chemical change, a new substance with entirely new properties is formed, because when you burn paper, a new substance, that is ash, is formed, and so in chemical change new substances are formed. The examples of physical change are melting of ice, melting of wax, whereas examples of chemical change are burning of paper, cooking of food, boiling of rice, you can say, baking of cookies, you can say. All these are examples of chemical change. So, this was all about our bookwork and copy work, students. So, go through our previous video very thoroughly and revise the bookwork and copy work too. Thank you, students.